Welcome to a Backyard Ultra podcast. In this episode, Kevin Brick Heaton came on. Brick is one of the race directors for the upcoming race, Brick's Backyard Ultra. So we talked about that as well as his running journey. Here we go. Yeah, so Brick, how you going?
I'm going very well, thank you. And you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good. Yeah, I guess it's only a couple of weeks till the inaugural Brick's Backyard Ultra.
Yes, yeah. It's all come together very, very, very well, and it's all exciting stuff for the first proper Sydney Basin-based backyard ultra, which is cool.
Yeah, it sure is. So you are Brick. You're the guy who the race is named after. So, I mean, you're obviously a runner. How long have you been running for?
I've been running basically since I was at school, really, and then stopped running for a little while to just do party things when I was in my 20s, and then started running again, and then just decided to. I tried a few adventure races with some friends when I was in my mid-20s, and I did that for a while. Then I moved to triathlons and Ironman triathlons, and then met one of the legends of this sport, Paul Every. I don't know if anybody knows Paul Every, but he's done, like, I think it's about 38 Ironman Australias and things like that. He's run across Australia. He used to be the race director for Coast to Cosy. So I met him and he got me into ultras. So
Yeah,
I've done them for quite a long time now.
yeah, and you've done a lot of ultras. We were talking before, like I think early 2000s, you did your first ultra.
My first ultra was, it will be early 2000s. I did my very first ultra was actually Trail Walker. And it was with a group, and I actually got Paul Every into that, into our team, because one of the people got injured during training, and 2 weeks out, I asked Paul if he wanted to join our team, and I said sure. And I'd just done, in the March before that, I'd done 6 foot track, and then I jumped up to the 100K with the team, and that was I thought that was good fun. And he'd already done 2 fat asses on Coast to Cosy. And I said, I'm thinking of doing Coast to Cosy. And he said, when we finished and we were drinking champagne after the 100K, and he said, so how do you feel? I said, pretty good. And he said, could you run back? And I goes, well, let's finish this glass of champagne. We'll do it. And he goes, so you could? And I said, sure. So he said, oh, all right. And he let me enter. So after somebody had only ever done 100K and a 6 foot track, he lets me into Coast to Cosy, which was pretty good. And that year I came 4th, I think it was, in my first year, something like that.
Yeah, I did notice that you did Coast to Cosy, and it looked like it was your first year of running ultras. So I thought that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. No, it's kind of unique, but most people can't get in now because it's getting quite popular. So
oh yeah,
and I've only finished it like 12 times, so it's getting good. It's good fun. Lots of people. It's like a family, as I've said quite a few times before. It's very much like a family. It's not like you're racing people. You help each other the whole way along. It's good fun, you know. So
yeah, well, it's definitely an iconic race. It's like nearly everyone I know who runs ultras wants to do it, and a lot of people apply for it. That's for sure.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So the name Brick, like, where does that come from?
Oh, that came from when I was doing the Ironman triathlons. It actually comes from the way I swim. So I swim like a brick. I'm a POM originally. I've been over here nearly 40 years, but I'm not the best of swimmers. I could only ever do breaststroke. So it's just, I swim like a brick. So, hey, I'm better at running than I am at swimming. So that's where it came from, was when I was on a forum called Transitions many, many years ago. So it's,
So when you used to do your triathlons, did you when you did the swim leg, did you actually just do breaststroke?
initially, yes.
Right.
Until I started doing, so I was doing up to half Ironmans just doing breaststroke.
Yeah.
And then I taught myself how to do freestyle. And I didn't teach myself very well, but then I had like a world champion, actually, a Hawaii world champion, winner of Hawaii, Peter Jacobs, trying to teach me how to swim. And he couldn't teach me how to swim either. So it's, I'm still not a very good swimmer, but it's, that's why I do ultras, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever like? We know you like ultras, but do you do marathons and park runs and stuff like that too?
Yeah, I do. I do try and do a park run every Saturday.
Yeah,
because that's basically my speed sessions.
yeah.
So just a nice quick 5K, and then you either do a run before, run after, or do something with the family, then do another afternoon run as a training run, and then long runs on Sundays.
Yeah.
And I run marathons quite regularly. I do what in Sydney's called Bums Marathon, BUMS. It's the Beaches Unmarked Marathon Series, run by Jane Trumper, and it's only $50 to enter. It's an unmarked course. They do time you and everything else, and you've got an entry process, but it's just basically a load of friends that do a different course going out from Manly to Watson's Bay most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's just good fun, you know, and the money goes to charity. So you can't complain about that.
Yeah. So I mean, today I was trying to find you on Strava just to find out a little bit more about you, but I couldn't find you. So I don't know if you're on Strava or not. But like, how many Ks a week are you running at the moment these days?
I'm doing between at the moment 100, about maybe 100, 110 Ks a week.
Yeah.
That's just about to start building up again, because I'm basically 11 or 12 weeks out from Coast to Cozzy, so I'm going to start building more kilometers and build anywhere between 100 to 160 Ks a week, I guess, will be what I generally do. So,
and does that mean it will be your 13th Coast to Cozzy this year?
It'll be my 15th start and hopefully my 13th finish.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So you're obviously involved in organising Bricks, like you're one of the race directors of Bricks Backyard Ultra. Have you been involved in much race directing before?
I've not been involved at all in race directing. Neither has David or Alex, the other two race directors.
Yeah.
So we haven't put a race on before, but we got excited. We were actually, the whole race is a lot of people are saying, why is it taken so, like there was only limited time from when it entries to when the race is on. And the reason is that we went up to the elephant race and we were all in the car together driving up there, and we started talking about putting a race on and where's the best place and what do we want to do. And between driving up there, going and racing and driving back, we decided that this would be the best format for us. And there's no backyard ultra in Sydney, in Sydney itself. So everything's else outside of Sydney, which is the only ones that are even close. And so that's why we thought about the best locations, and which is good for everybody in Sydney. And it's a place that David and I have run a lot because of Trail Walker. Like we've done over 20 Trail Walkers between the two of us. So it's we've run this area quite a lot. So it's and it just seemed like an ideal location for everybody, really.
Yeah. So, and how long ago was that?
That would be now about 8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because 2 months ago. So.
Yeah. Because most of the time when you hear about a backyard ultra being announced, like you'll see it's like at least 6 to 12 months away. So, how come you decided to have it so quickly?
We decided when we were talking together, we said we would love to do one, and we'd love it to be the first one in Sydney.
Yeah.
And he said, well, why don't we just do it? And he said, when's a good time? And I'd already applied for Coast to Cozzy, and I'm going, well, it can't be close to Christmas because in December, because there's too many races on then with Coast to Cozzy and other races coming up. And he said, "What about the long weekend?" And going like, "Yeah, well, that's only 10 weeks away from when we were." And we're going like, "But we can do this. We have to just get our butts in gear." And because there's three of us, we can all do different parts and of the organization and everything else. So, and the three of you decided to run with it and go, "Well, let's just get the thing off and moving." And and we'll just, fly with the whole thing. It just makes it more exciting, really.
And before this car trip that you had and you decided that you were going to do it, had running or organising a backyard ultra ever crossed your mind before that car trip?
I think organising a race had.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about what kind of race and everything else, and I'd talked to friends before who do organise races now, and I thought it's the right sort of thing. I just to try and do something, but it's like it just never actually eventuated. So but doing a backyard just seems to fit in for Sydney. And the location we've chosen, which is St Ives Showgrounds, it just fits perfectly because the people at Ku-ring-gai Council wanted somebody to actually put a race on for them because they love the LAS and all that sort of stuff. They all know about it all, and they just going like, as soon as we got in touch with them, they're going, "We want this race," and they were so helpful. But it's like, I'm sure if they weren't helpful, we wouldn't have had this race on so quickly, because I think most people have a problem in Sydney with red tape from councils and police and everything else.
Yeah.
But with us just being in just in the showgrounds area itself, we just had to deal with the showgrounds people which work for council and nobody else. So it's no national parks, none of that. And all we had to work out the course so we can get the right distance and not cross any roads, because we didn't want to cross roads because we want to have safety and we want to keep it so we're not in the way of the rest of the public, sort of thing. Yeah. So
The name Bricks Backyard Ultra, I mean, it's there are a few backyard ultras who are named after the race director. Like, had you thought of any other names first, or did you just think Bricks Backyard Ultra, that's a good name, let's just call it that?
You might have to actually ask David and Alex about that one, because that was their idea.
Right.
So it's I think part of it's because I've been around ultras for quite a long time, so it's and a lot of people know me, so it's just like, and it's kind of fits. The name does fit in quite well, so it rolls off the tongue quite nicely.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Which is good.
Yeah. So you did mention that it's going to be the first one in Sydney. I mean, there's been a few in New South Wales and a fair distance away from Sydney. But why do you think? And there are a few more starting to pop up in New South Wales and the surrounding Sydney areas. But why do you think it is that it's taken so long for a backyard ultra to arrive in Sydney compared to the rest of Australia?
I think part of it is what I mentioned before, is the red tape of Sydney itself. So if you're going into national parks, then you've got to deal with national parks, and then half the time you'll be in councils as well. So other than that, I can't really understand why there hasn't been one in Sydney itself. It's like, I know Tony, a friend of mine, does Blue Goat up in the Blue Mountains backyard, and it's like that's all on his property. So it's like it's easy for him to do because it's literally on his property in the Blue Mountains. So it's but other than that, a lot of places, I think it really will be just to do with how hard it is to get through red tape of councils and whatever else, I think. So other than that, I don't really know.
Yeah, fair enough. And because this format is still quite new, like I speak to race directors who had actually never been to a backyard ultra before until the one that they were race directing at. So
Mhm.
have you actually been to a backyard ultra before yourself?
Yeah, I've been to a couple of Blue Goats,
Oh, yeah.
which it does. And I've been to a couple of those, and that's the only ones I've been to. I haven't been to any others. But then I got another friend that does the AAA stuff up in Queensland,
Yeah.
and he does backyard ultras as well.
Yeah.
So I know Alan really well. So I always follow his races, and and the format's it's just fun, and it makes it so it's not the fastest. But I like the format because it's not the fastest person that's going to win. It's and it doesn't matter who it is. It can be male, female, small, large, whatever else. It's going to be the one who's got the most heart to a point than anything else. So.
Mm. And I'm guessing that you've probably watched all the backyard ultra documentaries on YouTube and stuff like that.
I've watched a few, so
Yeah.
you get sucked in and sucked in a little bit about all these things. But
Yeah.
it's I'm a coach driver, so I get to watch a few different things at times. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's some pretty good ones on there. And do any spring to mind? Any of the backyard ultra documentaries? Do any come to mind that you think are really good or your favourite?
um, I I'm not really sure. I've recently just watching the Dead Cow Gully one was
Yeah.
just following along, which Phil Gore did. That was just absolutely phenomenal. It was like it's just so hard to believe that somebody can keep doing that pace for so long, which is like I'm kind of blown away by that. And then to have two of them doing the same thing is just out of this world, really. So
Yeah.
uh, that's going to be one of my favorite ones, definitely to follow this last year. But it's
Yeah.
and Jennifer Russo when she did hers was I just loved it when women win
Mm.
because it just goes to prove that it's not just the big strong men that can win all this sort of stuff. It's women can do really really well at these races.
Yeah.
So which I like.
100%. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so just out of interest, like when you've travelled a lot to run in different races, so have you ever been close to running in a backyard ultra before?
Now the closest one I would get to would have been Blue Goat, but it's too close to Coast to Cozzy
Right.
because it's only 2 weeks away from Coast to Cozzy. So I thought about going up to Queensland to do Alan's one, which was I think it was about 2 weeks ago, but it just hasn't fitted. They just haven't fitted in with what I've been planning all the time. So and around injuries as we get older, we get injured. But
Yeah.
it's I still plan on doing one day. It could work. It could be well be bricks one year. So
Yeah.
won't be this year because the three of us are going to be busy. I'm sure race directing, and sorting stuff out. But we hope to get one of the race directors to actually be able to run it next year because
Yeah.
we're hoping to do if it all goes to plan as is planned at the moment. We're hoping to do it biannually, so we'll do 2 races a year of Bricks Backyard.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
then we'll let the race directors get a run in. At least two of them next year would be nice. So
Yeah. And you did mention injuries. Like, do you have like a particular part of your body or a troublesome area that you've got to watch out for getting injured at the moment? Or
I've just got over some Achilles problems.
mm,
So and last year was a back problem which I got at Unreasonable East, which slowed me down too much so I ended up DNFing at Coast to Cozzy. But it's so other than those, but they've all gone away now. So I'm training hard. I'm training well. I'm happy with where my training's going. So and I'm enjoying it. So it's cool.
yeah, awesome. So the bricks course itself, like what can you tell us about it?
What can I tell you about the course?
Mm.
It's Predominantly, it's on grass. So I've got this written down because I couldn't remember. Where is it? It's basically 4 kilometers of grass and about 2.7 kilometers of fire trail. So we do we were looking. I've had David has been out to a few different backyards just to check them out and see how they do things. And we decided we're doing a horseshoe shaped thing around and out and back. So your crew can actually see you in the first 600 meters or so of the race and the last 600 meters of the race. So you can get to the end of the race and you can run past your crew and tell them when you finish what you want from them. Right. So it gives them a heads up of if you want a cup of tea, if you want this, that, and the other. If you've got blisters, they can come and sort them out and get the blister kit ready. And then they also go past them at halfway, and they go past an aid station at halfway, so they can pick up their own water or tailwind or something like that at halfway. So obviously they can't be supported there because that's not within the backyard ultra thing. But it's but they can pick up stuff from the aid station.
Yeah.
So if when they run past there, the crew gets to see them, their families get to see them. It's the good thing about our whole course is it's a very family friendly area. So you can bring your dogs because we've got dog parks. There's a cafe there which is open from 7 till 2, and we're going to do food which people can buy and tea and coffee and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be hopefully a family affair which you'll be able to enjoy as well. Yeah. And that's the good thing about St. Ives Showground. It's just built up for families. So
yeah, cool. And have you measured the elevation of the course?
It's about 65 meters.
Yep.
Overall for each yard.
Yep. So it's pretty flat then.
Yeah, there's 2 little hills, and we did that on purpose because we want people to go, because I've got quite a few friends that are doing in bricks just to try and get 100 miles. But their target is actually, they've got others which are targeting the 100 Ks and some which are targeting 80 Ks and things like this. And it's going to be the furthest they've ever run. And we're going like, if you put lots of elevation in, then it makes it harder for them because you can't do the yard in the time. Yeah. But if you limit the elevation, so we want people to do well. That's the whole idea of bricks is people to enjoy it and do well at it. So. And if they can get to their 24 hours, then they've got the 100 miles, and that'd be pretty cool for quite a few people.
Yeah. And is there any hard surfaces like concrete or asphalt or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Oh, cool. So it will be nice and easy on people's feet and legs then as well. Then.
Yeah, there's some of the fire trails a little bit rocky.
Yeah.
But you can go. With the first, when you've got 100 or more people running at the start, there's hopefully they'll spread out when they do the horseshoe shape around the horse oval, and then they'll have a little bit more room. So, and then there's 3 out and backs and around, because it all stays literally in the showground area. So
right. The shoes, would you say to wear road shoes or trail shoes?
I've run it in both. I would personally, I'd use road shoes. I wouldn't bother with trail shoes unless it rains. If it rains, then I'd be using trail shoes. But I don't think they're necessary for the course. It's not rough, and it's not slippy unless it rains. Then if it rains, then I'd use something that it's not going to get very muddy because that's not the way this course is. It's not the showgrounds. It'll drain off quite well, but that's the only reason I'd use trail shoes personally.
Yeah. Have you looked at the long range forecast to see if there's rain, or it's too far away to worry about, do you think?
Too far away at the moment because it keeps changing so much. Yeah. I think the chances are there's going to be no rain. It could be quite warm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's warm down here in Melbourne at the moment. We're going like 25, 26 degrees.
For Sydney Marathon on Sunday, it's already got time for 28, 29 in Sydney.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's going to be a pretty warm weekend this weekend.
Yeah, yeah. So you did mention that the Bricks course, it's like a family-friendly kind of place. People can bring their dogs. There's dog parks, so it's easy for the general public to go to. Then there will be general public there who aren't involved in the race, just who are there to do stuff. Will there?
Yeah. Because there's lots of picnic areas around which will run past in the course. So you'll see general public will see people running and wonder what's going on.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a circus on in the main arena this weekend on the long weekend as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and we run next to a place called Treetops, which is one of our sponsors. So, and they've given us a couple of tickets for them, which is for kids, which, when they go up and they do walking along on the treetops and all this rope work and all that sort of stuff for little ones.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So we'll actually run past that and down the side, so the kids will see the runners going up all the time, all day through there, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, they'll all be asking for high fives.
Yes, yeah. So it'll be good.
Yeah.
And this general public will see it, and should get a little bit of notoriety, let's say, for Brick's backyard and basically backyard ultras and ultra running. Full stop. It's cool.
And so, will the circus be going while the race is going as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Which is cool.
Yeah, the runners will be able to hear like the circus music, I guess.
Yes, yeah, and we'll have our own music anyway because we've got a whole PA system we checked out today, which is kind of cool. So, but we're away enough from the circus not to get involved with them and get in the way of them and them to get in the way of us. So, which is kind of nice. So,
perfect. How long did it take to actually measure and design the course?
David's been on the course. He's been out in this area as soon as we decided to do it, I reckon he's done about 20 different courses.
Right.
So it's to get the measuring done, because initially we were going to go one way and go down a few hills, and we were up to about 160 meters of vert. Oh my gosh, just far too much. So then we had to try and take things out. So as soon as you take a hill out, you've got to add distance in somewhere else. So it's taken us a while to get the course to as it is. And there was other parts where if we went in another way, we'd start having to deal with national parks and everything else, which we didn't want to do because, as I said before, it's more red tape. So it makes it a lot harder to get races on quickly. So it's all been pretty. It's as I said, David works for himself, so he can go out and sort all this stuff out a lot easier than the rest of us do normal jobs, let's say. It's a good thing as three of us, as I said, the three of us doing different parts of the organization for it all is it's worked very, very well.
Yeah. And because it's Brick's Backyard Ultra, did you have to run the course and give it the seal of approval till before that was finalized?
What we do, because there's three of us,
yeah.
If two people say yes or two people say no, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So there's no arguments because it's just a simple, you ask a question, you put things forward and you go, and if the other two go yes or no, then that's what happens. It's a majority decision, and you can try and argue your point, but majority decision is it. Simple as that. It's very easy. So it means there's no arguments about it all.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, I think it's a really cool thing that there's going to be prize money, $2,000 to the male and female last one standing. It's not really that common for backyard ultras to have prize money. It is becoming a little bit more. You hear about it a little bit more now. But when did you make the decision that you wanted to offer prize money?
When we were talking about it initially, we basically said we should do prize money because we want to make the sport bigger, because it's ultra running is good fun and it's good for the family and everything else, and then it's just a matter of trying to bring elites in to run with everybody else as well.
Yeah.
So if there's a couple of grand up, then you might get some good runners running with, let's say, mums and dads and everything else. And the mums and dads in this format can win against whoever it is. It doesn't make any difference, you know. It's like, doesn't mean that because you're a professional or seriously fast that you're going to win these, because it's the format's just a very what's the right word? It sorts the chaff out, you know. It's a nice format to go, I can do this, and it's more of a well, I think it's a lot of mental strength as well as the physical to be able to get 5-10 minutes sleep and then keep running is but it's not running slow either, because once you've done it for 24 hours, it's still a reasonable pace, you know. So it's hard work.
Yeah, definitely. So you are offering prize money to the last male standing as well as the last female standing. Now, I don't know if you know or not, but Deed Cow Gully have recently announced $10,000 for the last one standing, and it's just the one. So what's your and I mean, and some people are like, oh, you should be offering it to the last female standing as well. So what's your how did you come up with the decision to give it to the last man and the last female standing?
I wanted to give the guys a chance to get some money, because, as we said before, women can win this race as well. It's I'm very much into equal opportunities. So, equal opportunities. Why should women? If you get, say, Phil Gore turns up, then why should they not have a chance to win a race as well? You're not winning, as in you're not the last one standing, so you don't win. You wouldn't win Brick's backyard, but you can still get the $2,000, and it's supporting the elite women, or the more elite, let's say, women, or the ones who have got more talent at this sort of a race, male and female, whichever way it goes. It's supporting that sort of runner, which is, I think, it's a lot nicer to do. Let's say equal opportunities. That's my opinion anyway. It's
Sure. And in that car ride, when you decided you were going to do bricks, is that when you decided there's going to be prize money on the table as well, or did you decide that later on?
No, there was always going to be, initially there was going to be prize money, and it was until, because we weren't expecting to get quite so many entries as we got for the first year, because it is the first year of one in Sydney.
Yeah.
So as soon as we basically that's when we announced that we were going to make the women's prize as well, because we could afford to. Because you can't go into a race and lose lots of money, because we wouldn't be able to do another one. So it's going quite well. It's we're not going to be schoolionaires out of this at all. But that's not the point. It's good. So we've got like 110 entries now. So if you want to do bricks, get in, because you've only about 40 people left can enter. So.
And do you know the ratio of male to female in the race out of that 110 runners at the moment?
I'm not quite sure, but it's Alex would know that one. I'm not really sure. It's we've got quite a few females. It's which is nice. There's a lot more females than I've seen in a lot of other backyard ultras. So I don't know whether that is because of the prize money for male and female or not. I don't know, but it's after we did that, we seemed to get a few quality females entering. So it's good.
Yeah, it's really good. What I know, so it starts on the 30th of September.
Yes.
What time does it start?
So it's an 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
8 a.m. start. Yep. And it's which is pretty cool, because it gives everybody time they can sleep in their own bed. We got over 6 million people in Sydney, so they can sleep in their own beds, come to and drive to us, which is only, even from southern Sydney, you're talking about an hour and a half at the most. and set up, and then gives them plenty of time to actually start the race without being too tired to start with and everything else from anywhere in Sydney, really. So, and that's the reason why we made it 8 o'clock. So it's some people are saying, oh, why can't you make it earlier so it's cool? And said, but you're going to be going for 24 hours. So it doesn't make much difference. And I said, but it's, so the reason was so that people can set up and get themselves set up for a long run. And get set up properly with gazebos and all this, because of the way we've got the park set up where we are. They can set their gazebos up, and we can have heaps of gazebos and all this sort of stuff set up so they can be supported well.
Yeah. Are runners able to set up their gazebos the night before, or does it have to be the morning of?
Officially, there's no camping in the campgrounds.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to say. Can I just say that?
Yeah, fair enough. So you did mention there's about 2 weeks to go, and there's about 40 spots available left. Is that right?
Yeah, we've got I think it's about, as of today, about 110 entries.
Yep.
We're capped at 150 at the moment. So, which is if we get some more, I'm sure. There's a few people I know that are doing Sydney Marathon on Sunday that are thinking of entering. They haven't yet, so I'm sure we'll be getting some more after Sunday, because it's as soon as they come back from that and they go, oh, I'm feeling pretty good, then they're going to enter. So that's what a few people have told me. So
see how they pull up now. So I'm not sure on the Sydney Marathon, do they have shorter distances like 5K, 10K, half marathon distances?
Yeah. I know they got a 10K or 10 or 11K bridge run, a half marathon, and the marathon. Yeah, I'm not sure if they have a 5. I don't think they have 5. I think the shortest is the 11.
Right. Okay. So you're probably more likely to get the runners doing those shorter distances who are less likely to pull up sore.
Yeah.
But we might get a couple of marathon runners as well, though.
Yeah, we'll get some of them, I think.
Yeah. So I know it's hard to say, but you know the course, and you would know a little bit about the runners who have signed up so far. So how long do you expect the race to go for?
With some of the runners, it depends. Because with people like Ben Hurst in it could go for quite a long time, because he's pretty damn good. We've got Pam Muston, one of the women, which is another Coast to Cozzy.
Yep.
Great runner.
Yeah, she's been on this podcast. Yep.
Yeah, she's really good, and she's a lovely lady, and she entered. We got Kate Cash, and it's what is it? Steve Bain. Who else? We got Corey and Warren, which are 2 young people. Oh, what happened then? Which are 2 young guys in Sydney. They're both quite quick, so we'll see how they go. It's they're both, well, Warren's long. He's done some long stuff. Corey's longest he's ever run is 100K. So it's but he's quick. We'll see how his stuff goes. And Heather Hawkins and a few other people. There's some quality runners in there, and then I'm sure there's going to be some people that we don't know even that are going to do well, which you don't even know are in the race at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm just going to plug my phone in because it's going to die otherwise.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
There we go. It's plugged in now.
Cool. So how are people going to be able to follow at home? Is there going to be a live stream, Facebook, and live timing and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we're going to do live. We've got live timing.
Yep.
So onlinetiming.com.au are doing our timing. They do. Colin, who owns that, does the Sydney Trail Series. So I'm not sure if you've heard of the Sydney Trail Series, but that's a group of races in Sydney.
Yep.
So he's doing the timing. So that'll be live timing on that. And we're going to do. Alex is doing all our media, so he's going to be doing hourly Facebook updates.
Yeah.
And we're also having prize draw every hour as well for the 31st. If it goes for 36 hours, for the first 36 hours,
yeah,
we're having a prize draw every hour. So on a ticket. So every runner will get a ticket. And then if you want to buy tickets to go into the prize draw, you can. So we get prizes from all our different sponsors and everything else. So, which is cool.
Yeah. In the Facebook page, has that been set up? I haven't actually, don't remember noticing it yet, but do I just search for Brick's Backyard Ultra and it will come up?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Now, do you plan on staying awake for the entire race?
Myself?
Yeah.
I'm hoping to stay awake for most likely the first 3 days. And then if it carries on past the Monday night, then I will be going to sleep, because on the Tuesday I'll be going to work. I'll be driving a coach.
Okay.
So and David will have to be taking over, because he's the only one that will be able to carry on with it. So we'll see how long it goes, but that's 3 days, so that's quite a long time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And if you were running in it, how far would you go?
That's a very interesting question. At the moment, I'm not running too bad, so I'd be hoping to get at least 36 hours, I guess. So, and then see how it went. But it's I'd be hoping to something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a 36. That's really good. That's really good.
Uh,
And what about like in the very peak of your career? Like, do you reckon you'd get 60?
I don't know. When I was doing things like the Anzac Ultra, which was the 450k and the 6 day races and things like that, I don't know. I could have. I'd be wanting to do, yeah, maybe the 460s. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
So it's it's hard to say, really, isn't it? Because you're going when you're quick and you're doing this, that, and the other. But there's the different formats from as we were talking about before. A 6 day race is slightly different, because you can get a break for 2 hours and then you go back out and you keep going for another 16 hours.
Yeah.
And then you get an hour break or something like that. But this, you don't get half an hour. You don't get, you're getting 5 or 10 minutes break where you can fall asleep, close your eyes, and then somebody wakes you up and tells you you're going in 3 minutes time. So it's slightly different. If you can look after I think it's the biggest thing is looking after your body and trying to get those little naps. If you can get a nap, even if it's only for 5 minutes, it makes a massive difference. I found that on Coast to Cozzy sometimes. Other times I haven't stopped, and I've done 32 hours or something, but it's like, that's not a problem. You can do that. But once you get into 2 days, it's like when I did Unreasonable. It's you go into 2 and 3 days, you need a little bit of sleep.
Yeah.
So that's why I think what Phil Gore did is quite phenomenal. It's like 102 yards is it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's mind blowing, especially after you've done a backyard, yeah, and you've finished the backyard. Like I did 33 yards on the weekend, and then 2 or 3 days later, I'm thinking they would still be going now.
It's still running, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
They're still going, and they're still going at that same pace as you were running at.
Yeah.
So, and they've been doing it for the last 4 days.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, yeah.
You did mention about having 2 a year. Is that something that you're going to think more about once this one's finished, or is that something that, like, would it be at the same venue twice a year, or what time of the year would they both be in?
Yeah, we're thinking about the same venue. We'll see how this one goes. Well, we want to have one. We'd like to have one in the first half of the year, and then go back to the same time for this long weekend again. So sort of March, April time maybe, and it's and then September, October time, which is a long weekend. The long weekend just makes it nice. The only awkward thing is that we get daylight saving as well, so it'll confuse people because you start at 8 o'clock, but you won't be doing your 24th yard until the 9 o'clock.
Right. Yeah.
Because at 3 o'clock it suddenly becomes 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And when you have two a year, will they both be called Brick's Backyard Ultra, or will you come up with a second name?
We'll see.
Fair enough.
The one at the beginning of the year might be Brick's 60th birthday backyard or something. I don't know, because I'm 60 next year. So
okay, cool. Yeah. Just yourself, do you have any races on your radar? I mean, I think you mentioned you are doing Coast to Cosy again this year.
Yeah, I've got Coast to Cosy in December.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do Hume Hovel 100-kilometer as well. Basically, that's going to be a training run for Coast to Cosy. So that's all I've got left for I've got Sydney Marathon on Sunday. So I throw a few marathons in every now and again, but it's it just gets you on the road and gets you running a lot, which is nice. So,
what's your marathon PB?
3:07.
Yeah, pretty decent.
It's not bad for an old bloke.
Yeah. And do you think we'll see you at any Backyard Ultras as a runner anytime soon?
I'd like to do one. I'm going to have to. Well, if I'm lucky enough, it might actually be at Bricks next year. As I was saying, we're hoping that at least one of the race directors will be able to do the race next year when we do it for each of those two. So either myself, David, or Alex will do the one at the beginning of the year and swap around and let one of the others do it for the second one in the year.
Yeah.
So the chances of me doing one are getting a lot closer, unless I go up and do. I could go up and do Allen's, because there's AAA backyard up in Queensland, which is a friend of mine's race, which I wouldn't mind going and doing that, because I haven't seen it for a while. So which would be cool.
Yeah. And what would your 3 tips be for doing well at Brick's Backyard Ultra?
First things first, look after your feet.
Yeah.
Next one, look after your nutrition. So keep your food coming in regularly and try and get those. If anything, well, to go with the nutrition one is if anything goes wrong, just fix it straight away. As you come in at the end of each yard, if you've got something which is a hot spot, fix it. And this is just general ultra running advice, actually. But it's and for this one, because it's the special format, try and get those 5 minutes rest if you can, 10 minutes rest, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes. If you could, even lying down for 10 minutes and closing your eyes, even if you don't go to sleep, makes a massive difference. It's because you just rest, relax your body. If you've got crew there and they can wake you up, it's cool. And it's give yourself that 3 minutes. When you get your 3-minute warning, get up and don't leave that until the last second to actually get up and get into the corral. Get up and wake yourself up a little bit before you go. Walk the hills, which is there's only 2 little hills, but it's walk the hills. It's not a race, as in you. It doesn't matter if you finish in 35 minutes or 55 minutes. If you get enough rest and you manage to eat and drink, then and get all your fuel in and get enough rest, then you're going to keep going. So speed can be a killer. So for some of the younger people which are fast, they don't do so well because they try and go too quick at the beginning. So they tire themselves out, I think. So just watching stuff online, that's what it certainly seems like anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah, well, those sound like some pretty good tips, that's for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Brick, it sounds like it's going to be a great race, and I'm looking forward to following along, that's for sure.
Yeah, cool. All right. No, we really are. Myself, David, and Alex are really looking forward to putting it on and hoping it goes really well. And I'm sure we're going to learn from this event because we haven't race directed before. But it's Colin's done a little bit, the guy who's doing the online timing. So we'll learn a little bit from him. And I know I've got lots of friends who've done races and put on races and everything else. So it's I'm sure they'll help me. It's like Pam Muston, she puts races on. So she runs a couple of races a year. So if there's anything she notices, I'm sure she'll let me know because I know a lot of people. Been around when you've been around a little while, it's not hard to get to know people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's such a good community, the ultra running community. So it's a good way to make lots of friends. That's for sure.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. Very close friends, so it's good.
Yeah. Well, look, Brick, thanks heaps for coming on. I'm really looking forward to following your backyard ultra, and looking forward to seeing how you go at Coast to Gozzy. All the best with that as well.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
No worries. We'll be in touch, and all the best.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Catch you later. Bye.
Bye. If you've enjoyed this podcast, it would be awesome if you could share, comment, like, subscribe, all of that. If you've got any feedback, shoot me a message. Hope you have a great day. See ya.